Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. In this, our October 10th, 2022 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including Dwayne Johnson's cryptic hints at Henry Cavill returning as Superman, possibly. We're going to be talking about the new era of Superman comic books starting up in early 2023. We've got Titans season 4 information coming. So much to get through. And joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hello, Mike.
Hey Steve, how's it going?
Doing well, and yourself?
I can't complain yet. We got a lot to talk about tonight, so I'm not even going to do any kind of snarky like back and forth here. We're just going to get right to telling people how they can get involved with the show, and it's super easy, which makes sense because we're a super show. All you have to do is go to supermanhomepage.com/live and press the call now button if you want to be part of the show, and if we start taking calls, which is usually about halfway through. Or you can take your phone out, scan the QR code. Most cameras these days have a QR code built right in, as opposed to like 5 or 6 years ago when you had to download a separate one, and life was just incredibly complicated. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, that is, and the best part is that you can actually watch the show as you're waiting.
Yes, indeed. Yes, the green room for those who are brave enough to get on and call us tonight. Otherwise, you could always just participate in the comments there on YouTube. Fans watching the show live are chatting right now. JP, Kenneth, and others are tuning in, chatting with each other and with us. Of course, Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments to react to your questions or comments that you have as the show goes along. And if you'd like your comment or question featured on the screen during the show, that's called a super chat. All you do is click the dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate. We will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go to air. And thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And if you'd like to support the show, you can click on the dollar symbol to join. There's join button below there on YouTube for different levels of perks for our membership. Although otherwise, you can go to patreon.com/Superman homepage. Mike, first off, I saw on Facebook this week that sadly you had to say goodbye to one of your dogs, who's probably been one of the ones featured on this show over the years, which was very sad. I'm
Uh,
sorry to hear that.
she's popped up. Gracie tends to be more of a camera whore
Mm.
than Mayday was. Mayday was interesting. She went blind about five years ago, almost 6, and Mayday hated having her picture taken.
Mm.
Like hated having her picture taken when she could see. And so we figured, okay, she's blind. She won't know we're about to take her picture, and she would act the exact same. Um, but no, she was having some health problems, and Saturday night it just wasn't getting any better. So we took her to the emergency vet. And it's never a good sign when the vet tech comes out, looks at your dog, and gets a look on their face. And I'm just like,
Mm.
okay. They also didn't believe she was only 10. They
Oh,
thought she
wow.
was older.
Wow.
So yeah. But uh, I get. I know there are people out there that say they're just dogs. Those people need to shut up.
Mm.
And please don't say that to me to my face, because the reaction will be visceral. Um, because I love these. You don't get a dog because you don't want to love it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a,
There's no other reason to get a dog or a cat. There's companionship, but with companionship comes love. There's a symbiotic relationship there. So, but we still have Lady and Grace, um, which made it a little easier to come home. But it was tough.
mm.
Um, Luckily, I had things to distract me, like let's argue about which Superman theme is the best
Yeah.
all freaking weekend on Twitter.
Yes, I saw that. People arguing about Man of Steel's theme by Hans Zimmer and John Williams' theme by Superman theme by John Williams. Crazy.
And people made these videos going, look, like one of them did like the Wonder Woman theme, the Linda Carter Wonder Woman theme to the scene in Justice League. And I'm like, this isn't the flex you think it is. This is actually kind of cool. I like this. If you did like a complete like full orchestral version, like really heavy on the bass with this, it would work just fine. But yeah, this whole we're going to be talking about the Henry Cavill and Black Adam thing, which is what sparked the whole thing. But man, people were mad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it started because uh, we know that Black Adam is imminent. It's almost
Yep.
here. It's like next week, and there are supposedly been early screenings where people or test screenings where people have said that in the third act, Superman appears. It's not just a cameo. Maybe there's been maybe talk of like a post credit scene. There's been talking about Superman appearing at some stage in the third act. Like, I don't know where he's going to pop up, but Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, hasn't helped with these
No.
rumors because he's been out there pretty much spruiking the whole idea. Here's what he had to say about this hint at an appearance. Listen.
And I just saw the movie again last night. I can't wait for you guys to see Black Adam. He is the most powerful. Here's the third act. He is the most powerful and unstoppable force on this planet. On this planet.
So the hint there is on this planet, meaning that Superman is not from this planet.
And there's another press interview where he's just like, the most powerful man in the universe has been off the table for too long.
Let's hear that right now.
So yeah.
Superman. I love Superman. I loved Superman, and I still do. Clearly.
Yes. You have a filmmaker's vision, though. You understand what makes good movies. Is the scene already built in your mind? Is it raining? Is it sunshine? Like, can you see it in your mind right now when you think about it?
Jake, I could see things so clearly on how that scene looks like, what that scene looks like, what the film looks like, what the next 3 films look like. Now, whether or not that comes to fruition, that always helps when you have that kind of clarity. But here's what I do know. Listening to the fans when I was wrestling always led and guided me, just like now. So for the past 10 years, as I was pushing Black Adam up this hill to get made, for the past 5, 6, 7 years, I was also listening to the fans at the same time. Where you have Black Adam, we will create Black Adam for him to be the most powerful and unstoppable force on this planet. The most powerful and unstoppable force in the entire universe has been on the sidelines for too long.
I mean, this could be some really good, just getting people pumped up and talking, which is good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or it could be him really pushing for Superman to be back on the screen. Now, I will point out, as I've seen other people point out, it's not like Superman's not on the screen. We have a wonderful Superman who's going into his 3rd season as with Superman and Lois season 3, which will be premiering in January. And I don't think what Dwayne Johnson is doing is necessarily detracting from that.
No, he's talking about the
But
movies.
yeah, and he's thinking more cinematic. And
Yeah.
the thing is, he's not wrong either.
No.
That's the thing. He has been off the stage too long.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue even his appearances in the Justice League films was not him really on the stage.
Yeah, he's a part of a ensemble.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So if he ends up being in Black Adam, and if that was Dwayne Johnson pushing that, great. I'll be excited. I
Yeah.
don't really care what theme they play.
Because there are
Uh,
reports saying that when Superman does appear in the Black Adam movie, that it's the John Williams Superman theme rather than Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel theme, which has been Henry Cavill's theme, if you like. But it doesn't really matter, as you say, because for me, yeah, the Hans Zimmer theme is great. It works in Man of Steel. It fits its bill. But the John Williams Superman theme is iconic and more widely known and just revered. So it's not saying that the Hans Zimmer theme isn't good. It's just that the John Williams theme is part of the fabric of society when it comes to Superman. People know it immediately, and like
Yeah, like the
I've heard Man of Steel being used in football games here in Australia when their team's about to come out and run out in the stadium. The Man of Steel theme is being used, and I go, "Oh, that's the Man of Steel theme," and people go, "Oh, really? Okay." They don't know it. When if you hear the Superman John Williams theme, everybody knows it.
this is the thing, and this is where I get into a thorny situation because there are people who hold the Hans Zimmer theme and the Snyder version of Superman to their heart to the point where I think they are just as um, I don't want to say bad because it's not bad or good, but
No.
they're just like the people that cling to Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of zealotry there. Uh, the thing I always go back to is that the John Williams Superman theme works at one point or another for every version of Superman. And that was proven back in 2006 when they had that ad that would appear before the DVDs, all the Superman DVDs came out, where it
Mhm.
was the John Williams theme, but it was all the different versions. And you saw like the shot of, you know, uh, George Reeves rushing into a storeroom, or Tom Welling standing up dramatically with the camera in it, probably in a hole in the ground, and all that. It just works. And somebody worked it into like the scene of him flying for the first time in Man of Steel. And it is very rare in a piece of pop culture to have something be so instantly recognizable
Mm.
musically. You play either the beginning part or the march,
Mhm.
people are going to know what that is. And I get that there are people out there that are like, oh, they need to retire it, or why are they always bringing it back? And they bring it back because it works.
Mm.
And I'm telling you, I think the Zimmer theme is good. I think the Zimmer score is samey throughout most of that film. It's a lot of bum, 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 bum,
Mm.
bum, 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 bum. And yes, they're using different instruments, and that's kind of cool. And there are certain little music motifs, representing Krypton and representing, him like when he's floating in the ocean, the music playing there. But I can listen to really any of the Chris Reeve scores, but especially 1 and 4. And I
Mhm.
know people are like 4. I'm like, no, 4 has an excellent score. It's actually great from beginning to end. And I can listen to those as albums. I don't put on the Man of Steel score. I don't put that on, even as just like background noise,
Mm.
because it is so repetitive. And and this is the last thing I'll say on it because I know we're taking a lot of time on this and we got a lot of other stuff to talk about. But there isn't something you can play one little part of the John Williams theme and you get the idea.
Mm.
You can't do that with the Zimmer theme. You
Mhm.
can't really, because you can't, like, are you going to do the, like, just the dun 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 dun? I mean, that's really it. Because if you listen to the theme, especially the what are you going to do when you're not saving the world, it's something that builds to something.
Yeah.
It's a theme that builds to itself. Whereas the Superman theme is good no matter what part you cut into it.
Mm. Yeah, you're not wrong.
So
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do and how it plays. Supposedly, Superman comes on and says, "We need to talk Black Adam," and that's what the post-credit scene that people say they've seen is all about. But yeah, look, I'm up in the air. I don't know whether to, if Dwayne Johnson hadn't come forth with those two clips talking about Superman or talking about the most powerful being in the universe who's been on the sideline for too long, then I would be skeptical about these so-called reports about seeing the film and Superman being in it. But it's kind of gaining. It's like snowballing. So we'll have to
mhm.
wait and see. So, October 20th is the day the movie comes out. Black Adam premieres October 20th in the US. So yeah, wait and see as it gets closer. I'm sure there'll be advanced screenings before then where people will actually maybe take screenshots or whatever and actually, give us some concrete evidence about it. But we'll just have to hang out until October 20th, I guess.
I look forward to seeing it on TikTok.
Yes, 5 seconds after the movie is premiered.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of Henry Cavill, there's a part of the Prop Store's entertainment memorabilia live auction on Sunday, November 6th. We'll see a collection of designs and photos of Henry Cavill in different um, costume designs and concepts come out in as part of this auction. It's really interesting. Some of these design elements, they're obviously early concepts that don't have the full finished costume, but this is expected to sell between $2,000 and $3,000. This collection of photos and designs. What do you make of it?
Is it me, or do some of these remind you of that early Nick Cage Superman
Yes,
suit that
very
they were
much
kicking
so.
around?
Especially the
Yeah,
theme
that's the only.
underneath stuff.
Yeah, and it's. I was fascinated by two of them. The one with the straps coming out of the S was kind of, you can see
Mhm.
that on the screen there. That just looks terrible.
Yeah.
Um, I think that is objectively bad. But I'm more interested in how like all of them had more cloaks than capes.
Mm.
And the way the cape was draped across them. It's I think the ultimate version we got was the best. Um, Even though it's kind of not there. It's funny that that drawing of the suit looks better than the actual suit itself in terms of breaking up the middle. Um, and that's always been my problem with that suit is that there's really nothing. Even that belt, it doesn't break up the middle of it, but those straps around the S, I was just like, wow, somebody went crazy and said, okay. I wonder if it was one of those things where they wanted to do something that was so out there so that they would go more traditional.
Mm.
Like, no, 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 we can't do that. We gotta rein that in, so to speak.
Yeah, so it's a collection of 30 pages of printed Superman suit concept designs and photos from Man of Steel. It's marked as lot 1148, and yeah, it will be going under the hammer, as they say, on Sunday, November 6th. So, very interesting to see who comes up with that collection and whether we'll get some really high res. Well, if you're going to buy it, you're not going to go out and do high res scans of it to post online, but you
Yeah.
never know. But it's a 4-day entertainment memorabilia live auction, and there's the Christopher Reeve costume that we mentioned that would be part of that, and other things going in as part of this auction. And for those who are tuning into our podcast on Spotify after the fact, we apologise for not visuals, but it's an audio. So you can check out the YouTube version if you are listening to our audio only version after the fact. But yeah, that's a really cool auction that's taking place there at Prop Stores. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what that ends up going for. Probably the higher end of the scale, I would imagine.
Yeah. I wonder if they're going to try to turn it, like the people who buy it are going to try to turn it to like NFTs or something.
Mm. Still don't know what that's all about. But anyway, we keep seeing more and more of those NFTs. The funny thing is, I saw someone, I don't know where it was, talk about naming their dog Crypto, and they said not after the currency, after the dog from Superman. You have to make that distinction now.
Yes, well, such is the crazy world we live in.
Exactly. All right.
Everything's on fire and nothing makes sense.
No, that's 100% great description. Uh, this past weekend, New York Comic Con took place in New York, funnily enough, and the world premiere of Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons took place. And our reporter, T.A. Hewitt, was there in attendance to not only conduct interviews with some of the cast and the director, but also to see the film. And he gave us a spoiler free review of the film and says that it says Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons has a few deliverables that have been absent from the DC animated universe thus far: optimism, exuberance, and light. That sounds positive.
Yeah, it does. I'm not completely sold on the animation yet of the clips I've seen.
Hmm.
I think that's one of those things that once you settle into the film, it'll be fine. Um, but like seeing it separate from the film in chunks, it just doesn't work as well, I don't think.
Mm. Yeah, I can understand what it's the first CG animated super film for DC universe of
Yeah.
animated films. It will be available at 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack, Blu-ray and digital starting October 18th. So just over a week away for fans looking forward to this one. But TA was pretty happy with the film all in all, and glad 'cause he's usually pretty harsh with his reviews on some of these Superman things. So I'm glad that he liked it. And you can check out the interviews that he did with the round table. It's like a 38-minute video that we've posted on our YouTube channel of all the round table interviews with people like Jack Dylan Glazer and Jack Griffo, who are the voices of Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne, respectively. Also, who else did he? Travis Willingham, who plays the role of Superman and Clark Kent, and his wife, Laura Bailey, who plays his wife, Lois Lane, in the series. So, sorry, in the movie. So they're all there, as well as um, the director Matt Peters. So the interviews there are on our website if you want to check that out. And looking forward to Batman and Superman: Battle of the Super Sons. Speaking of a clip, I'm just going to play a few seconds of a clip right now that you can check out because I know they'll probably not like playing the full thing, as is their want at Warner Brothers. So here is a little clip about Jonathan finding out that his dad is Superman and that he has superpowers of his own.
My dad is Superman? Like the Superman? This is the best birthday ever!
Was it just the heat vision, or was there something else?
I don't know.
Does he have X-ray vision? If he has X-ray vision, we can't send him to school. You know that, right?
So there's just a bit of a clip with John going crazy, learning that he's got superpowers. Supposedly it's his birthday, and maybe he's just hit 13, and then puberty and all that, and his powers are kicking in.
Yeah, he looks a little younger, but and then again the voice is a little deep, so maybe he is kind of closer to being a teenager. I did like the banter. I love. Do you have any other powers? Oh no.
Yeah,
Superman is just
X-ray vision. He
completely
can't let
clueless.
me out of school if he's got X-ray vision. It's funny.
Yeah, I think they proved that on Smallville when he looked into the girls' locker room because that's not
Mhm.
creepy.
No, not at all. So yeah, that's Batman Superman Battle of the Super Sons out October 16th. All right, as I mentioned at the top of the break, looking at the TV side of things, sorry, top of the show, I should say. Not Teen. I keep saying Teen. Titans season 4 is not that far away. It's going to premiere on November 3rd on HBO Max, and they gave us a little bit of a teaser and a couple of clips. Here is the teaser for season 4 of Titans. Check it out. Titans teaser. Where is it? Here we go. Interesting. I don't know what that's all about. Looks like a Lazarus pit, maybe.
No, Brother Blood.
Oh,
He
Brother Blood. Okay.
bathes in blood.
Oh well, yes.
Yeah,
As you do.
it's a cult thing. Yeah. Plus, they revealed like the costume and everything for it. But
Yes.
yeah, that's definitely Brother Blood.
Okay. And there was also this clip about Lex Luthor wanting to meet Superboy.
Happy rush hour metropolites. We've got traffic, and more traffic. With some big slowdowns for you folks coming into town. The city is gearing up for the big Hero Day parade. And if you're planning
Hey,
on
Connor,
attending,
can
bring
you
umbrellas.
take a picture of me with the bow staff? Sure.
Haven't stopped our Superman, though. That's good. Rain or shine.
What's this for? A profile? Nah, I want to send it to that guy.
That guy? Who?
Bernard, the Star Labs dude.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I mean, come on, they made this for me. I would like to say thank you.
Yeah.
Say thank you. What?
Your phone just died.
But I just charged it.
What the hell's going on?
Hey, Connor.
Connor, this is Lex Luthor. I know this might seem a bit much, but how else was I going to contact you? I'd like to meet in person. Come to LexCorp Tower tonight at 8 p.m.
What's going on?
I'll expect to see you then.
There's just a bit of that clip. Very much if you can hear this frequency, Superman.
Anything less than 4 legs.
That's it.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to get Duck Dynasty Lex Luthor, but here we are. No, I know, I love Titus. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the character, both in what the writers do and how he brings that to life. But yeah, I kind of dug it. I'm amused that Titans have a battle van. That doesn't seem dark and edgy at all. The show has come so far.
There's also another clip on our website, Mother Mayhem Fighting the Titans, which you can check out at supermanhomepage.com. So yeah, that's interesting to see. They're in Metropolis. It's very heavily with Lex Luthor or Superboy. So Crypto's there. So looking forward to season 4 of Titans, which, as I mentioned, will premiere November 3rd on HBO Max. Looking forward to that. All right, so we are just at the halfway mark of tonight's show. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to do our This Week in History, fan favorite, and then we're going to get into the new era of Superman comic books coming in January. Don't go anywhere, folks. We've got heaps to get through. We'll be back right after these messages. Here we go.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program. Just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/supermanhomepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's supermanhomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. Supermanhomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. Supermanhomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. Supermanhomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman in Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
You can make them fly or jump or crash your wall. Superhero action figures over 7 inches tall.
Each sold separately.
Superman, Batman, Incredible Hulk. You can make them do their thing. Even make Spider-Man slide down a string. Lots of action for one and all. Action figures over 7 inches tall.
These superhero action figures each sold separately. Batman, Superman, Incredible Hulk, and Spider-Man. Each sold separately. By Mego.
For the Air Force, Dick Williams.
I know what it's like to manage a championship team. The excitement and satisfaction of seeing a team of superstars perform. It must be the same way for the people who manage the Air Force. Pilots, navigators, mechanics, technicians, all working together on a team with a common goal. You can be part of that team. The Air Force will train you in one of over 100 skills, training that can count towards college credit, in skills that will be useful to you in or out of the service. Whether you're a man or a woman, whether you qualify to be an officer or an airman, the Air Force probably has a super job for you. What's eating you, Superman?
Well, they won't let me play with them.
Why not?
You see, I'm too good.
I know how you feel. Why don't you try the Air Force?
Will they let me play the outfield?
Well, ask your nearest Air Force recruiter.
I will. I'll do it. How about you coming along? You could use a job, too.
For the location of your nearest Air Force recruiter, call toll-free 800-447-4700.
Yeah, wow.
There you are.
There we go. That was interesting.
That was a long way to get to a Superman appearance in that one.
Yeah.
I'm also fascinated. You will never see today an action figure company making not only figures of both Marvel and DC characters, but featuring them in the same commercial. But such was the 1970s.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're getting into the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, so our fan favorite question from last week was what, Michael?
Who is your favorite Jonathan Kent? And Kenny Crowley Jr. wrote, my favorite version of Jonathan Kent is from the TV series Smallville, played by John Schneider. John had such a commanding presence to the role of Jonathan, and he was as a father, a great mentor to Clark and giving advice along the way. When he died in Smallville season 5 in the series' 100th episode titled Reckoning, it was so heartbroken not only for his family but for Clark as well. That affected him for a while until season 10, the final season, when he came back in a vision of Clark, a vision Clark is seeing. This is my preferred live-action Jonathan Kent. Sure, I did like Glenn Ford in Superman the movie. We got very little of his version, where with John's version, it's more iconic for me. As far as Jonathan Kent comic book stories, most of the post-crisis New 52 stories with Jonathan and Clark interacting I liked and enjoyed, plus the small interaction of Supergirl were fun too. Thanks, guys, as always, and keep up the super amazing work.
Thank you, Kenny. Appreciate that. Very nicely said. Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote in and he said, my favourite version of Jonathan Kent would be that portrayed by Eddie Jones on Lois and Clark. He had great chemistry with Kay Callan's Martha, as well as a wonderful rapport with Dean Kane's Clark. An honourable mention goes to Glenn Ford, who, for Superman the movie, though only on screen for a few minutes, his performance left quite an impact both on the film story and on the audience. I couldn't agree more. That's very well. Thank you, Ryan. That's excellent. Thank you to Kenny and Ryan for those responses to the Pa Kent story from 2 weeks ago. Obviously, last week we had a special guest, so we didn't get to the fan favourite segment. We appreciate you guys being patient to hear your responses. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, honestly, it's John Schneider. Though Eddie Jones comes as a really close second. I liked Stuart Whitman from Superboy too.
Okay.
He wasn't really in a whole lot of episodes, but I kind of liked that he was basically a more energetic version of the Glenn Ford Jonathan Kent. Especially in the episode where Clark goes home in the first season, and it's basically an episode of the A-Team, where a land developer is trying to steal farms, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Oh yeah, there's a writer's strike.
Yeah, for me, it would probably be Glenn Ford. His impact in the movie, Superman the movie, is obviously very heartfelt and emotional. And John Schneider, obviously, with 10 seasons of Smallville, it was such a massive part of that show and of why Clark ended up being the person he was. It's hard to kind of go past that as well.
He had kind of a good buddy of mine compares it to Kevin Costner. Why can't I remember Kevin Costner's name? And there are a lot of similarities. I know some people are going to be like gasping at the screen. There's a lot of similarities between their Jonathan Kents. It's just one was a television series and one was a movie. So you had a lot more time to develop the
Mm.
Jonathan from the TV show, but they were both basically wanting to keep their son safe
Mm.
and wanting to protect them. It's just the point of both of those were different, so that the Smallville Jonathan had to accept that his son's going to go out there and do stuff.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
be careful. Whereas that wasn't the Jonathan from Man of Steel. See,
No.
you could we could talk about this and it not get ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I totally agree there, and I think the cameo, if you like, of Jonathan appearing on the mountaintop in the Justice League movie where that happened, and
No, that was Batman v
Batman v
Superman.
Superman. Yeah, that was kind of like a nice addendum to the John Kent character. You felt
Mhm.
like there was more emotional connection there rather than the stern kind of father that we got in Man of Steel that just got killed off too early. But nevertheless,
Yeah, I'll never agree with how he died. It will never work for me.
yes, doesn't fit well. All right, so what is our new fan favorite question for this week?
I just had that up. Let me go back to it. What is your favorite Superman celebrity signature you own?
Yeah, if you've got a Superman signature from a celebrity, it doesn't have to be a Superman actor himself. Any Superman celebrity that you've got a signature of, I would love to see it. Share it with us. All you have to do is email us at info@supermanhomepage.com, scrolling across the bottom of your screen now. Take a photo of it, send it to that email address, and we will feature it here when we return to this segment next week, the fan favorite segment of our show. All right, let's jump into the history, this week in history.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bonds of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
Not a whole lot this week. We're jumping all the way to 1972 for our first book, which is Justice League of America number 103, where the Phantom Stranger shows up, no doubt to say something kind of cryptic and then not do a whole lot through the course of the story. You also had Superman number 259, where you got a kid shooting Superman with his crutch.
Crutch, not crotch.
Only in yeah, crutch, not crotch. Yeah, that's important. 1982, we have Superman number 379, which has it's a fun Bizarro cover. I love that the Bizarro Green Lantern is the yellow candle. That's just amazing. Not a big deal at all. Not important in any way. 1992, Superman, the Man of Steel number 18 did not begin the Doomsday storyline. This thing went to 5 printings.
Wow.
And it's amazing how much people want for the 2, 3, and 4 on eBay. Because I've looked, because of course I want all of them. But no, this is the first one. This is him breaking out. What's really cool is if you are following the Superman books over the course of the previous 4 weeks or so, you saw the fist hitting at the end of every issue, and now he's breaking out on the cover, which is a nice artistic trick. They made a nice action figure of this too, some years back, which I have somewhere in the house. 2002, we have Adventures of Superman number 609, continuing the ending battle storyline, which was the kind of the end of an era there. You also had JLA number 73, and which is the interminable Obsidian Age storyline. The things seem to go on forever.
And it's
And then you had
obviously
Legion.
being October, having a kind of Halloween type cover made sense.
Yeah, and Superman's still in the morning black S there. I like how Wonder Woman's costume just kind of just falls off. You really need something to kind of keep that on. We also had Legion number 12, which has Superman and the Justice League on the cover. I liked that that series. I kind of enjoyed that era of Legion. It's going to get into the point where Superboy's in it soon. Speaking of Superboy, 2012, we have Superboy number 13. Stuff happened in this issue. Still absolutely no memory of it. Yeah. In the real world, on October 9th, which was just this past Sunday, Brandon Routh, who played Superman in Superman Returns and in the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths, as well as playing Ray Palmer, was born in 1979, making him officially the first Superman that was cast that was younger than me. Only by 3 years, but it counts. October 10th, Christopher Reeve passed away back in 2004. I remember that being an extremely big deal.
Yeah, he was only 52.
Yeah, something like that. But he was, he had the accident, so that kind of unfortunately cut his life shorter than
Yeah.
than it should have been. And speaking of death, October 15th, John Hamilton passed away in 1958. But also, inker Vince Coletta was born. And immediately came out and changed the backgrounds of the hospital. It's fascinating. If you get that joke, congratulations. Please don't kill me, Vince Coletta. So,
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Michael. That was this week in history. So
there was a rumor
Mhm. Rumor.
that when Vinny Coletta would ink you, if he didn't want to do the whole page, he would just white out stuff.
Okay, there you go.
So,
Did not
but
know
that's
that.
a rumor.
Rumor. Okay. Well, yeah, that's this week in history. Thank you very much for that. Now we're going to jump into the big news of the week. It kind of started with this image from DC when they were promoting their panels for the upcoming, or for what was it then, an upcoming panel at New York Comic Con. And it featured the Superman family of characters in all new designs, with the Superman panel taking place at 1:45 p.m. on Saturday, October 8th. Then on October 8th, sorry, we got the news and the press release that a new era of Superman comics was set to begin with the January issues, Action Comics 1051, which obviously comes straight after the Kal-El Returns saga, and Action Comics 1050. And we're getting Action Comics is kind of changing tact. It's going to have 3 stories in each issue of Superman and the Superman family by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Dan Jurgens, and Leah Williams. So, very interesting. What did you make of this announcement?
Might be picking up the Superman books again.
Ooh.
One, if you're going to tell me that Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks are getting together to do a sequel of sorts to the Superman and Lois miniseries from 2015, I'm going to buy it.
Yes.
But it was really that interested me. I was kind of fascinated with the new Adventures of Superman book that Tom Taylor's going to be writing, but it's the Joshua Williams Superman title that the description of that really got me like wanting to check it out. That it's this storyline where, and they say it, and I don't know what this means, but they say Clark Kent is back at his home, and they're making it very clear that Kal-El is going to be Superman. He's going to be the main Superman. This is nothing against Jonathan Kent. It's just I think they're really pushing, which if they're planning a movie, that's only the smart thing to do. But when they said Clark Kent is back, I'm like, are they changing it? Are they actually bringing back like Clark Kent as an identity? Okay, but the fact that it sounds like this really cool storyline where Joshua Williams is going to take all the toys out of the toy box and play with it, I'm like, I really want to check that out. The fact that Power Girl's getting a strip is great too. It just sounds like they are casting as wide a net as humanly possible for Superman fans. And it's not like I'm going to be like I was years ago where I was all in, no questions asked. I mean, I know where the door is. But after being away for, over 3 years, it might be time to start picking up the books again.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just went through Action Comics covers for 1051, and then there's also these, with all those designs, characters on the cover, you might be wondering who everybody is. Well, this is the character designs that Dan Mora has put together. You've got John Kent up there in the top left corner, the new costume that obviously with a variant cover showing him in that Superman blue electricity. I'm wondering if something's going to happen with his powers where he has to go through what Superman went through and has the electric powers thing being an issue for him. That seems to be the case, so that'll be interesting to see. But he's got like an all kind of leather jacket over the top of a pantsuit, if a tights, and he's got the electric blue symbol that Supergirl's been kind of wearing for the longest time with the sharper kind of angles to the S. So that's very interesting. Supergirl, as we've just touched on her, she's going to almost like a Supergirl TV series, all pantsuit type of thing, and again with a leather jacket on top. Connor Kent goes back to a 1990s style costume with again a leather jacket on top. Then you've got Natasha as Steel, again Steel, but with the leather jacket on top. Keenan Kong, or Kong Keenan, depending on how you want to say it. He's got a new suit, but he's got his yin yang symbol again with a leather jacket on top. And then you got the twins. Now, if you're wondering who these two kids are, they're the Phalosian brother and sister that I wasn't aware that they were twins, but they came from Warworld. Now, Phalosians are an ancient Kryptonian race, if you like, who were transported to Warworld many years ago, generations ago, and have been living on Warworld as slaves. And Superman has rescued these two and brought them to Earth with him. And they will have some kind of powers because we've seen that Phalosians, like Kryptonians, exhibit some kind of superpowers under a yellow sun. So they're going to be very interesting to see them. They don't have leather jackets, although they do have some kind of outfit. But
which was obviously an oversight.
Yes, exactly. All the characters have the Superman symbol on their shoulder pads, except for Superman, who goes back to his classic costume minus the cuffs, if you like.
Yeah, I there's a part of me that remembers when all of the Avengers in the mid '90s were wearing leather jackets, brown leather jackets, and the X-Men were as well. Having said that, I particularly like the Supergirl design. It's kind of a bold choice. I think the TV series showed me that the skirt is kind of not old-fashioned, but for a different era. Those are two different things, because when you say something's old-fashioned, it can still be of this time. It's just old-fashioned. Whereas I think it just works better for her as a character to have pants. If Jonathan is going into like his electric blue phase, which I think happens to all of us when we turn 19. You're just sitting there and suddenly you just burst into energy and you need a containment suit. The fact that they are putting such effort into, as I said, trying to appeal to a wide variety of Superman fans is different. Because even with Rebirth, they were recording a more traditional version of Superman. Even with the different costume, especially that ugly one that keeps getting action figures, the first one. And when they brought the trunks back, it seemed like they were bringing it back and then taking everything else away. Whereas this is okay. We're gonna have Superman. He's gonna be in his traditional outfit. He's gonna be recognizably Superman. But all these other characters are gonna have kind of a uniform look, but still be distinctive. The fact that they went with those for the Superboy, for the Connor. Ooh, I saw the Silver Banshee for the first time. That has me excited. I love that character. Is that? Wait a second. Is that like long-haired Steve Lombard?
No, but I'm going to get into that in a second because this is the cover, obviously a wraparound cover for Superman number whatever, the first issue of Superman. It's the new ongoing monthly series that's by Joshua Williamson and Jamal Campbell, and we've got Lex in jail with his, obviously with his orange jail get up, and you've got, as you mentioned, Silver Banshee. There's Parasite in the bottom left. There's
Live
Live
Wire.
Wire. There's Bizarro and some other shadowy black figures in the background. Couple of them there. You got Jimmy, you got Lois, and you got Perry White. Now I'm going to zoom in over here if I can get it any larger. No, I can't. So on the right hand side there, we've got he's wearing a badge like a policeman's badge on his vest. I
Okay.
did a whole video on this, so you can check it out on YouTube. But yeah, he's got a bearded, ponytailed policeman. I'm guessing maybe someone with the Metropolis Special Crimes Unit. I don't know. And then in the background, you've got probably Mercy Graves with what looks to be a like holographic Lex Luthor behind her, or a shadowy Lex Luthor. It's very odd.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then you've got what looks like the LexCorp building, but with the S symbol on top. Now I don't know if that's just a graphic for the for the sun to shine
Yeah.
through, on the cover, but that's a very interesting choice there because the characters are leaning up against that building as a kind of reference to the LexCorp building. But yeah, very interesting cover there. I'm not sure who the black two figures are in the very background and the behind Lex, but this has got me interested for a new ongoing Superman title.
And there's Parasite.
Yes, Parasite down the bottom left.
I
Yeah.
just spotted Parasite in there. That's interesting.
So yeah,
That's a really good cover.
it is. That is a really great cover. And yes, that's a new Superman ongoing title. We haven't had Superman for a while, but as you mentioned, John Kent is getting his own title. It's going to be called, here it is, Adventures of Superman John Kent, and it will feature a couple of variant covers. There's the one that I mentioned with the electric powers, so he's obviously something's going on there. And the Superman of Earth 2 will be featured fairly heavily in this. So, yeah, we're not sure what's going to go on there with Val Zod. And Ultraman is obviously going to play a heavy part in the John Kent story because he was the one who kidnapped John back in the day, and he's going to have to face him again. So, yeah, it's only a 6-issue miniseries, so I'm not sure what will happen after that. But interesting that Adventures of Superman is back, but with a John Kent subtitle to it. So interesting times for Superman comics starting in January, and then follow on with Adventures of Superman John Kent, and obviously the new Superman ongoing monthly series as well.
And
sorry,
this
as
is
you mentioned, the Superman and Lois, or is it Lois and what's it called? Lois and
Superman and
Clark
Lois.
2. No, Lois and Clark
Yeah.
2, Doom Rising, the Dan Jurgens series. And I'm not sure if that's one of the 3 parts they'll be telling in Action Comics, or if it's going to be a standalone thing on its own.
Yeah, when I first saw it announced, it seemed like it was going to be its own thing, but then they said it's going to be part of Action Comics. I'm good either way.
Yeah.
In all honesty, it's just I think it's nothing against Philip Kennedy Johnson for what he was doing with the War World story, or with Tom Taylor with the Son of Superman, basically, being the Superman title. And I'm sure at some point I'm going to sit down, I'm going to read the entire War World storyline, and I'm going to think it's fantastic. But that isn't what those types of stories aren't really what I go for with Superman. And now that I'm in a position to be choosy, just because I can, I really wanted to chase what I think of as being kind of traditionally Superman. And even with the new characters and probably the revamps of the villains, unlike the Bendis series, which seemed to want to strip everything away again, the Joshua Williams series in particular seems to be leaning into the skid of no, this character works in a certain way. Now, even if they don't bring back the secret identity, they keep saying Clark Kent. It's throwing me off. But even if they don't bring back the secret identity, I like the idea that here are some of his classic villains. Here's a new setting, and what I'm hoping is that it turns into like the Hush for Superman. I know that a lot of people thought that was going to be For Tomorrow, and For Tomorrow is Henry Cavill's favorite Superman story. I don't think you could hand For Tomorrow to a new Superman fan and say this is his world. It's a story about him. But I think Superman needs that hush evergreen storyline where you can hand it to somebody and you get to see all of the toys, all of the villains, all of the heroes, all of the supporting characters kind of strutting their stuff and kind of put back on the shelf at the end.
Mm.
Um, it's just kind of fascinating that Superman is getting this full court press when he really hasn't gotten this kind of attention. Uh, the Batman stuff didn't get as much attention out of New York this year.
So true. Which is very interesting. Some people are asking, where is John Henry Irons? Why isn't he Steel anymore? It seems that John Henry is still there, but he's working at the Steelworks and kind of just concentrating on being John Henry and doing the science stuff. And Natasha is now out there being Steel and doing the super heroics. So John Henry's still there. He's just not front and center.
Which works, and that doesn't preclude him to not put on the armor and go out.
No, exactly.
But when you have Natasha or a version of Nat in the armor on television, it's kind of a good idea to put her in the comics.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as far as Superman comics coming out this week, this is what we have to look forward to as readers. We've got obviously a October Halloween themed DC's Terrors Through Time #1 one shot, an 80-page giant, and that is available in a couple of variant covers and does include a Super Sons story. We've also got, and there's a very 1980s VHS cover variant available. We've also got the Jurassic League, the 6th and final issue of this series is out this week as well, and that's available in a variant cover. Then we've also got Superman Son of Kal-El #16. Only 2 more titles, 2 more issues to go. 18 will be the final one of this title before it goes into the Adventures of Superman series, and that's available in a couple of variants as well, with that one right there. And that is what's available this week for comic book readers. Sadly, Mark, who was waiting in the chat calling in to chat with us tonight, we don't have time to take that call. It's just been a bumper episode with so much to get through. Apologize, Mark. Also, check out a video I did of New Zealand Mint's new Superman #1 comic, Mint silver coin that they've got coming out. I've got it right here. That's the coin for the silver. It looks see-through because of my green screen, but that's the coin that's available from New Zealand Mint. But that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live and joining us for this past hour, for those who joined us live. And thank you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thank you, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
And don't forget, if you tuned in late, missed part of the show, want to check it out all over again, you can do so both on our website and our YouTube channel. But Michael and I will be back next week on October 17th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. We hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. We'll be back next week. Thanks, everyone. Take care. See you then. Bye-bye.